Ever wondered how to make the perfect filet mignon steak with red wine sauce, garlic mashed potatoes, and sautéed asparagus at home? Welcome to a culinary journey that will transform your kitchen into a gourmet steakhouse. We'll be working with some mouth-watering ingredients today, including tender filet mignon steaks, a robust red wine sauce, creamy garlic mashed potatoes, and vibrant sautéed asparagus. Each component is a star in its own right, coming together to create a symphony of flavors. So get ready to impress your guests with this incredible meal. First and foremost, we start with the star of the show, the filet mignon. The key to a perfect filet mignon lies in its preparation. Start by patting the steaks dry with paper towels. This removes any excess moisture which could hinder the browning process, essential for achieving that delectable crust we all crave. Now let's season the steaks. This is where the magic begins. Sprinkle generously with salt and freshly ground black pepper on both sides. The salt will not only enhance the flavor but also assist in forming that mouth-watering crust. Next, we heat a cast iron skillet. It's preferable to use a cast iron skillet as it retains heat well and ensures an even sear. Once heated, add a drizzle of olive oil. When the oil shimmers, it's time to place the steaks in the skillet. Hear that sizzle? That's the sound of flavor developing. Now this is crucial. Sear the steaks for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side for medium rare. If you prefer your steak a bit more done, adjust the time accordingly. The goal here is to create a beautiful brown crust on each side while keeping the inside juicy and tender. In the last minute of cooking, add a pat of butter to the skillet. This is where we introduce a whole new level of richness. As the butter melts, tilt the pan slightly and continuously spoon the melted butter over the steaks. This process, known as basting, imparts an incredible depth of flavor and helps the steak achieve a beautiful, even browning. Once the steaks are perfectly cooked, remove them from the skillet and let them rest. This allows the juices to redistribute throughout the steak, ensuring every bite is moist and flavorful. Now that our steaks are resting, it's time to make the red wine sauce. But that, my friends, is a story for the next scene. Stay tuned. A good steak deserves a great sauce, and this red wine sauce is just that. Let's dive straight into the process. We're going to start by using the same skillet in which we seared our filet mignon. It's still warm and full of those delicious steak flavors. We'll add in our finely chopped shallots and minced garlic, sautéing them for about a minute until they become fragrant. Now comes the exciting part. We're going to pour in our red wine. As we do this, let's talk a bit about the wine. You're going to want to choose a good quality red wine, something that you'd enjoy drinking. When you cook with wine, the alcohol evaporates, leaving behind the rich, deep flavors of the grape. So, the better the wine, the better the sauce. Once our wine is in, we'll add in our beef broth. This will give our sauce a robust and meaty depth of flavor. As the broth and wine blend together, we'll scrape up any browned bits from the bottom of the pan. These bits are packed with flavor and will infuse our sauce with a savory complexity. Next, we introduce some fresh thyme sprigs into the mix. Thyme has a subtle, earthy flavor that complements the richness of our sauce. We'll let this simmer until the sauce reduces by half, intensifying the flavors and creating a thicker texture. As our final step, we'll stir in a couple of tablespoons of butter until it's completely melted. This isn't just for richness. The butter also gives our sauce a glossy, luxurious finish that looks incredible drizzled over our filet mignon. And there you have it. Our red wine sauce is ready, a symphony of flavors, each playing its part to enhance the overall taste. It's rich, it's savory, it's subtly sweet, and it's about to make our filet mignon even more delicious. With our sauce ready, let's move on to the garlic mashed potatoes. Now, what's a steak without some creamy, garlicky mashed potatoes on the side? Mashed potatoes are a classic side, but we're giving them a bit of a twist today. We're going to infuse them with the rich, earthy flavor of garlic, which will pair beautifully with our filet mignon and red wine sauce. First, we'll need 4 large russet potatoes. These are perfect because they're starchy and fluffy, which is exactly what we're looking for in a mashed potato. Peel and dice these potatoes and get them boiling in a pot of salted water. This process will soften them up and make them ready for mashing. While our potatoes are boiling, let's turn our attention to the star of this side dish, the garlic. We'll need 4 cloves, minced. Now you might think 4 cloves sound like a lot, but trust me, once it's cooked and mixed in with our potatoes, it's going to give them a subtle yet irresistible garlicky flavor. In a small saucepan, we're going to melt half a cup of butter. Once it's melted, add in the minced garlic and let it cook for a bit. This process infuses the butter with the flavor of the garlic, creating a delicious garlic butter that's going to make our mashed potatoes absolutely mouth-watering. By now, our potatoes should be tender. Drain them and return them to the pot. Now comes the fun part, mashing. You'll want to mash until there are no lumps, and then stir in our garlic butter. The potatoes will soak up all that garlicky goodness and start to take on a creamy texture. To make our potatoes even creamier, we're going to add half a cup of heavy cream or milk. Stir this in along with some salt and pepper to taste. The result? A batch of the most delicious, creamy, garlicky mashed potatoes you've ever tasted. With our potatoes beautifully mashed, we're on to our final component, the sautéed asparagus. And to add a bit of crunch and freshness, we have some beautifully sautéed asparagus. This vibrant green veggie is not just a feast for the eyes, but also a delight for the palate, adding a crisp contrast to our succulent filet mignon and creamy mashed potatoes. Now let's get to the sautéing part, which is as simple as it is quick. Start by heating a drizzle of olive oil in a skillet over medium heat. Once the oil is shimmering, it's time to introduce our asparagus spears. Season them with a sprinkle of salt and pepper to enhance their natural flavor. Keep in mind, we're aiming for asparagus that is crisp tender. That means we want it lightly browned, but still retaining a bit of crunch. This usually takes about 4 to 5 minutes. Remember, overcooking them will result in limp and lifeless spears, and nobody wants that. With all our components ready, it's time to assemble this luxurious meal. Now comes the fun part, bringing it all together on a plate. So let's start this culinary assembly line. First in line, our star, the filet mignon. It's been resting, absorbing all those delicious juices back in. Place the filet mignon steaks at the center of your plate. This is your canvas, and the steak is your masterpiece. Next, drizzle that sumptuous red wine sauce over the steaks. Don't be shy with it. Let the sauce pool around the filet, creating a luxurious moat of flavor. The rich, deep color of the sauce not only adds an extra layer of taste, but also gives a visual contrast against the steak. Now, onto our comforting sidekick, the garlic mashed potatoes. Take a generous scoop of these creamy wonders and place it next to the steak. The potatoes, with their smooth texture and delicate garlic notes, offer a delightful balance to the robust flavors of the steak and red wine sauce. Next up, our vibrant sautéed asparagus. Arrange these green spears artistically around the plate. Their bright color adds a splash of freshness to the dish, and their crisp, tender texture introduces an exciting contrast to the softness of the potatoes and the steak. A little garnish can go a long way to elevate the look of your dish. If you have some, scatter a bit of chopped fresh parsley over the mashed potatoes. The green specks add a pop of color and a subtle herby flavor that complements the potatoes beautifully. Take a step back, admire your creation. Each component on the plate, with its unique flavor and texture, plays a vital role in this symphony of tastes. Yet, they all come together harmoniously, creating a meal that's not just delicious, but also visually appealing. And there you have it, a restaurant-quality filet mignon steak with red wine sauce, garlic mashed potatoes, and sautéed asparagus right at your home. A luxurious meal that's sure to impress, whether it's for a special occasion or just because you deserve it. Bon appétit!